Hello everyone, I'm Kirsty. Welcome back to Heart's Humble Homestead. On today's video, I'm going to show you what I do with all the beautiful blackberries that are around right now. Hope you enjoy. Children are having a run with Maisie Moo, so I'm happily filling a basket of blackberries. No shortage because all of them are brambles. These ones aren't quite ready yet. Nearly full basket, and my daughter found apples, which will be great for the natural pectin for the jam. That's good for today's foraging. And to start with, I'm just going to see what weight blackberries we managed to get. So I've put that on 0. Oh wow, 606 grams. So I'm going to separate that in half and I'll come back to you. I'm going to start with the blackberry compote. Sorry if I've said that wrong. So I've got 300 grams of blackberries. This is a very easy recipe, so for every 100 grams of berries, it's 1 tablespoon of sugar, half a tablespoon of lemon juice and half a tablespoon of water. So I've got 300 grams of berries. Just going to pop in there. So I need 3 tablespoons of sugar, 1, 3, sorry about that noise, that was our dog knocking everything over. So I need half a tablespoon of lemon juice. So I need to put 1.5 in because I've got 300 grams of berries. 1.5, and then the same amount of water. There we go. So I'm now going to bring that to the boil and keep stirring it. Got it on the lowest heat on the camping stove. I'm going to keep stirring it so it doesn't caramelise too much. The sugar's on the bottom. I'm just going to let it boil and then keep the boil going for a few minutes and then bring it down to the simmer. Now already see how it's thickening up. That liquid on the bottom, releasing more liquid. Nearly there now. And that's ready. I'm just going to turn it off and let it settle for 5 minutes before transferring it in the jars. I've put some hot water in that and tipped it out so it's nice and hot. I haven't bothered sterilising it because it'll only last a couple of days in this house anyway. So I'm going to just pour it in. And that's it filled. This is an old salsa jar and I've replaced the lid. So the 300 grams of blackberries turned into the compote fit in there. It's just a nice size for our yoghurt. It doesn't have enough sugar in to be shelf stable, but it'll last in the fridge for about a week or two. It doesn't tend to last long, so I only do it in small batches. I'm hoping I get enough for a year's worth of jam. We are going to make the jam. We need to get everything ready first because once that's bubbling we need to keep an eye on it. To start with, overestimate how many jars you need, put them on a baking tray, pop a little bit of water in and put them in the oven while you're cooking and things like that, just to sterilise and heat through. I've also put them in an air fryer and on a hot setting on the dishwasher to do the same. The lids go in boiling water in a pan. I find blackberry jam the easiest jam to do as it doesn't require pectin, or I find it doesn't, but in my favourite jam and preserves book it does say it requires pectin, but I've never used it. Things like strawberries and raspberries I use pectin, but not blackberries. I've always found it sets fine on its own, but I will be making pectin in a future video with these apples that my daughter foraged the other day. So once they're in the oven, you need to put a little plate in the freezer to check for setting. I'll be back in a moment. I've gave the berries a quick wash. Now I'm going to weigh them. That's 150. It was 158 grams. So with this you can make any quantity you want. Just get them bits out. And now we're going to weigh out the same amount of sugar. There we go. I'm just going to pop it to the side and we're going to start this off just on a low heat to start with. It doesn't need any additional water. So this recipe is just equal weights, fruit and sugar. So you can make it whatever harvest size you've got. We're just going to let them soften and then we're going to add the sugar. These have all softened up now and releasing a lot of juice, so I'm going to add the sugar. And just gently stir until all combined and melted. All that is melted, so we're going to turn it up and bring it to the boil. We're just going to stir it occasionally so it doesn't stick to the bottom. It's only been a few minutes, I can already, when I stir it, feel it getting thick. If you're using a jam thermometer for this, you need to get it to 105 degrees as that's the setting point. I'm just going to be using a plate and a spoon to see if it sets. Just leaving a nice line through now, so I'm going to test it so you can see the bottom of the pan. Just going to get a spoon and pop it on my frozen plate. Just give it a few seconds, but I'm pretty sure that's done, so I'm going to turn it off. It's not moving anywhere. Yes. That has set. I'm just going to give it a few minutes just to stop bubbling a bit, and then I'm going to pop it in the jars. I'm now going to fill up the jars. Now thick that's gone. This is only a small batch to show you, but I will be doing a bigger batch. Blackberries is something we don't grow, as they're that abundant around our area. We don't need to. We'd use all our growing space to grow this amount. Well, the amount we need for jam for the full year. And that's what I tend to do. Make enough blackberry jam for our jam needs for the full year. And then little jars of our harvests. Right, that one's full. So I'm just going to put the hot lid on as tight as I can. And there is our jam. Just need to sort that lid out. I'll get a tea towel and sort it out. As tight as you can. This doesn't need water bath in or anything. The UK guidelines say we don't have to, we can just hot pack it and it will seal itself with the heat. Now I'm going to make blackberry vinegar. This is very beneficial in the winter months for cold and flu season. For every 200 grams of blackberries, I'm going to add 400 ml of vinegar. I'm just giving it a squish and a stir before I move it to a jar with a lid, so no fruit flies go on it. I'm going to stir it twice a day for around 3 days and then come back to it. It's day 2 for the berry vinegar, so I'm just going to give them a stir and a little prod. Just to crush them slightly. It's been a few days for the vinegar and I've stirred it each day. So now I'm going to put it through a sieve. And for every pint of water, well, vinegar, that's just under, but it should go up to a pint, we need to add 225 grams of sugar. So that's just under, so I'm going to do 200 grams of sugar. I'll just get a bit more. I'll pop them berries in the compost. So the liquid can go in there. With the sugar. If you wanted to use it within a couple of weeks, you could leave it as it is and put it in some clean jars without adding the sugar, and then it'll last a couple of weeks in the fridge. This will make it shelf stable. So with the sugar in, we're just going to heat it through and let it boil for 10 minutes. The jars are hot and sterilised like how I did the jam jars. I'm going to pour the liquid into the jug and then into the jars. Be very, very careful with this bit. I've got a barbecue glove on. There's one. And two. I'm going to get tidied up and then show you everything we've made. And this is what I got from just over 2.5 kilograms of blackberries. So I've got 8 of this size jar, one of this size, they're jam. I've got 2 tester pots for compote. We've been eating that with our yogurt. I'll link the video at the top. And 1.5 blackberry vinegars. That'll be good for the flu season. I'm going to get some more, I think I'm going to try and do another batch, about 2.5 kilograms, and that should be enough blackberries for the year. I want to put about 500 grams away to do some blackberry cider and do a bit more jam, some more compote, some more vinegar. Now, I hope you enjoyed this, everyone. Thank you for watching. Bye.